Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel. Thank you so much for joining me today for a favorites video. Happy Sunday to you all. And today I have 5 plants, I believe. Yes, 5 plants that have really been catching my eye lately, and I wanted to show them to you because I think all of these plants have really taken on the growing season and they've just exploded in growth, and I really wanted to share them with you. So I'm going to start off with the biggest one because I should probably end with that one because it's so big and heavy, but I think I'm going to start off with the biggest one, which is one that I recently showed you in my 30 days of Begonia. This is my Begonia Pegasus, which I recently found out that the Pegasus and the Griffin are the same plant. The Pegasus is simply the copywritten name for the proven winners plant. So let me show it to you. This is my Pegasus Begonia, and she was day 1 of my 30 days of Begonia, and she wasn't nearly as big as this. She was a lot smaller. She was still big, but she was not as big as she is now. I want to step back so that you can see the full scope of who she is. She's so beautiful. This is my plant that I check on every single day. Just like I check on Big Mo, I check on this plant. This plant is so beautiful to me. It was on my wish list forever, and I finally got it, and I'm so happy to have it. I purchased this in the Home Depot for, I believe it was $5 and some odd cents, or $4.98, $5.98 or $4.98, one of those. And it was in a little Proven Winners pot, and that was just in the springtime of this year. When I got her, and I had one last year, I had one of these last year and it stayed small, but what I did with this one to make it grow huge is I put it into a really big pot, and that made this plant grow up, take off. I'm getting the connection with Begonia that they like to be in bigger pots if you want them to be bigger. At least this one does. I have another one outside. Actually, I have 2 more outside, but this one is so huge. Look at this stalk back here. Look at this. That is amazing. So there are so many stalks in here, but it only started off with 1. It didn't have all of these. So yes, this is I have to put it down. My Pegasus is officially a full-on bush, but she is growing in a pot, and I plan on bringing her in for the season, for the winter season, and I am so excited to see her. I'm going to put her right next to a humidifier because I don't want her to have any problems. I do have, like I mentioned, I have a couple more outside. I'm going to keep those in my greenhouse, or I'm going to rehome them because, to say the least, I have more than enough here to keep me completely content for next year. And I'm trying to think of what else about this plant. It's sitting right outside of my greenhouse. So it's on the south side of my house, but it's under the canopy of so many trees that it's getting very indirect light, but it is still growing amazingly. And her leaves are so beautiful. They are so beautiful. I love that plant. Every single day I always look at her and prune her. There's actually a spider plant at the base of her and another one of the polka dot plants, but they were kind of squashed out by the Begonia, so I kind of have to just move them out because they're not getting enough light or anything else because of the Begonia. Okay, so now let's go on to something really lightweight. My plant number 2 is this Pilea glauca, or the Silver Sparkles Pilea. Peperomia. Is it a peperomia or a Pilea? It'll be on the screen. I love this plant. The nickname is Silver Sparkles because when you look at it, it kind of looks like it has silvery leaves that sparkle. The leaves are so tiny. Now, when I purchased this, I was told, because there was no tag on it and I wasn't familiar with the plant, but I was told that if she starts to go up the way she is, that means that she's getting more light than she needs. She's not burning, but she is getting more light than she needs. So she is definitely getting a big, huge burst of light on the top of her, because I want the top of her to stay nice and full. But honestly, I like the way she looks kind of sticking out like this. But when I purchased her, she was all flat. And I've cut a lot of her pieces because I have quite a number of terrariums going, and these love high humidity. This is actually living on the ceiling in my, not on the ceiling, but it's hanging from my light fixture in my closet. That's where this is, because it's not the light fixture. I have a hook that is secured near the light fixture on the ceiling, and I have this hanging from it with a couple of other plants. And she loves that spot. She does dry out really, really quickly there, but I'm okay with that because drying out quickly is not an issue as long as you are being watered regularly. And she's, again, sitting right over a humidifier, so she's not in want of anything. Anytime something breaks off from her, like when I detangle her, I just take it and put it into one of my terrariums, and it just takes off. I just lay it on top of the moss, and it just takes off growing. So she is plant number 2. I love this plant so much. Look at the top of her. I want you to see all in there. Isn't she pretty? I love string of plants, but this one right here is actually easy. Beautiful, huh? Okay, I'm gonna go with another light one because that first one got me. This is the next one. This is the Vietnam violet, and you can see her bloom right there. Isn't she pretty? Her technical name is Mycomolaria vietnamensis, and this plant was actually discovered and named in 2020, and it is having a problem in nature right now where it's not readily available anymore because the area where it was living or where it was discovered is being destroyed. So this right here is hard to find in nature now. So most of them are plants in homes or in garden centers. So that made it even more special to me. Look at that beautiful bloom. Isn't she pretty? This is the very first bloom she has put out for me, but I see buds all over the place, so I'm really happy to know that she'll be budding soon. She sits in a window on top of my refrigerator in my kitchen. It is a south-facing window. Now, I do notice that the spots on the leaves that it came with look like this, but now that I have it in that south-facing window, most of the leaves look like this. You see the difference in it? Maybe it's getting a little bit more light than it would like, but she doesn't seem to be complaining considering the fact that she's blooming, so I think I'm just going to leave her where she is. I only water this plant maybe once a month because she is in no drainage, so I don't really water her very often, and she stays very happy. She has become very full. This plant was a gift to me from my friend, and I was just so happy to have this plant. I really, really was happy to have this plant, and I never expected it to hold such a special place for me. I really didn't. I knew that it was something new that I had never seen. I loved it to pieces. But then it started to take off, and when it showed this flower, I don't know, I love this plant. I love to look at it. I love to feel the fuzzy leaves. They're so fuzzy. This is the Vietnam violet. It's in the African violet family. So you know how the African violets have very fuzzy leaves? Well, that's what these leaves feel like. I did take one of the leaves that fell off and I put it into my raised bed, and it is growing a new baby. So I will share that baby with someone else. So we're back to the really big ones now. This is my Rhipsalis triangularis. Okay, I have to step back so that you can see the whole plant. She's beautiful. She's beautiful, and she is amazingly sun-stressed. Isn't she pretty? She has bloomed for me and she continues to grow. She is sensitive. She will break off at any point. She'll break one of these arms off at any point, but I don't, that used to like really bother me. But what I've learned to do is if she breaks off, I just pop the piece that breaks off right back into the soil, which means it makes for a fuller plant, so I'm not sad about it. I think this was the first piece that broke off, and I just took it and put it in there. Now it has a new baby growing in. And I have had her living in my greenhouse. Whew, I can't even remember how long. I don't know that I've had her a full year, or maybe just at a year, but she has been growing in my greenhouse. I never brought her inside. All through the winter, she just grows in my greenhouse at the very top of my greenhouse, and in the summertime, she provides shade for anything that needs, well, in the springtime, she provides shade for anything that is getting too much light, but then I have her hanging outside of my greenhouse through the summer season so that she can get full sun, and I don't have to worry about watering her or anything because she does drink up a lot of water when she gets watered. So I had to learn to balance out her watering cycle. She's beautiful. Look at this. Absolutely beautiful. I just recently repotted her. It was maybe last month I repotted her because her pot broke, the handle, everything. This plant is so heavy. Oh, it's so heavy. But her plant pot broke, and so I ended up changing her pot out. I gave her a bigger pot, bigger and deeper, and then I gave her a stronger hook. So here she is. This is plant number 4. One more to go. This is my Anthurium magnificum, and this is plant number 5 that I have been so happy about. This plant makes me so happy. I purchased this plant in the Home Depot. It was in one of the H2O bowls. There were 2 plants in the pot, and I've mentioned to you many times that there were a couple of women who were helping me out as far as sharing plants so that I can share with different people. And I ended up taking the other plant, making 2 plants out of it, and I shared it with both of them. And I don't have an update. I think they are still in their terrariums that I put them in the beginning. But this plant, this was a learning curve that I had to get used to because it had 2 leaves prior to this one that grew with me. But this one right here is not as big as the last one. I took it out of my cabinet and then it grew this one. But this one right here, it had 2 leaves prior to this one. And when I took it out of my cabinet because they were expanding, they were too big. They really were too big for my cabinet. But then they just shriveled up. They didn't make it. And so what I did was I waited until this leaf completely hardened off, and I took it out of my plant cabinet and I put it right next to a humidifier. And that is how this one right here developed, and it didn't have a problem. It does have a lot of damage, but it's just getting used to its life outside of the cabinet. My plant cabinet is entirely too small for my Anthurium, so I have it as a Begonia and alocasia cabinet. I have few alocasia that I keep inside now. Let me see, there's 1, 2, 3 alocasia in here. Just 3. Nope, 4. There are 4 alocasia in here. But outside of that, I haven't been keeping my alocasia in here. Last year, I cut them back and let them regrow because it's just too much. But this is about my favorites, which I guess I'm mentioning that because I love alocasia. I really, really do love alocasia. But anyway, the magnificum, this is not solely a magnificum. This is a magnificum hybrid. I don't know what it's mixed with. The tag only said magnificum hybrid. And she's so beautiful. She does have a new leaf on the way in. And I'm really happy about that and all of these roots because I actually gave her a little bit of root rot. But now her roots, I can see them taking off in this container. And I have her sitting over a reservoir of water. This is my African violet mixture that I shared with you guys not too long ago. So, and then she also has some bark in there as well, or chunky cocoa core she has in there. So, yes, this is my magnificum, and she is my favorite number 5. I love this plant so much. I still can't believe I have an Anthurium that's this big. Now, something I have been learning about my Anthurium is that it is really difficult to keep up with them if you want them to keep sizing up, because you have to continue to change the pot sizes with every single, for me anyway, with every single leaf. It seems that, or every 2 leaves, I change the pot size. Like this leaf got this big after I changed the pot that it was in. And so I didn't change the pot for this one and it came out smaller. So I do think there's a connection. But I love her. And like I said, I gave her root rot and she has minimal damage behind the root rot. She has a little spot right there, which is actually what told me she had root rot. So she talked to me and I listened. I love seeing all these new roots. I really do. I hope you can see them. Right in here. Look at all those new roots. They're so happy. So thank you very much for joining me for my August favorites. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I would love for you to write down below any plants that you have really been checking on for the month of August, or just period, just something that's really catching your eye as of late. I would love to know anything that you are really just feeling happy about right now in your collection. I think that our plants make us feel very happy when they do something that we've been waiting for them to do for a long time. And so I would love it if you could share that with me, because I love to read your comments about your favorites. Okay, guys, I will talk to you again very shortly. Bye.